Hello YouTube, I'm gonna introduce you to my basic car mechanic tools. These tools are very inexpensive, and if you want to do a basic maintenance of your vehicle, you better get a decent set. Before you start up with any repairings or any maintenance of your car, you better think of your safety. So get yourself a clear goggles or glasses or something to protect your eyes. Dust mask is another handy thing, and a decent pair of gloves. It could be either disposable gloves or non-disposable, with something to protect your hands. Will be quite good. Another thing to consider before you start buying tools is where you're gonna store them. This type of box is quite convenient. According my experience, this is probably the best way to keep your tools nice and tidy. It's very compact, very reliable. You can always carry your tools, and you can get your tools anywhere you want. That's quite handy when you're working around the car. You want your tools to be in a nice close distance, so you can change and you can grab anything you want. So this type of bags, a metal bag, is working quite well for me. In this review, I'm gonna start up with the tools in my bag, because these are one of the most important tools and things I'm using in pretty much every car repair. First things first, a decent set of braking bars is something which you can't avoid. No car repair is the same without the braking bars. Obviously, I have different type of braking bars. I'm using this chisel as a braking bar. It has a very sharp tip, so you can chisel off old gaskets, or you can get into a really tight space. This is a set of chisels and things to punch out anything you want, pretty much. So braking bar, a nice set of chisels, screwdrivers. I strongly recommend to invest in a decent screwdriver. There is nothing worse than start doing maintenance of your car and find out that the tip of your screwdriver is eaten and it's not good anymore. Obviously, flathead screwdrivers are really good. I have in this toolbox, I have a set of 3 flathead screwdrivers, small, medium, and a little chubby one. Phillips or crosshead screwdriver is another must. I have 1, 2, 3. I barely use this one. This one is very, it's part of the set anyway, but I barely use it. 4 Phillips heads. Not many vehicles nowadays are using a flathead. Most of the vehicles are using a Phillips or crosshead screwdriver, or alternatively a Torx. Torx are getting more and more popular, and that's why I decided to invest in a whole set of Torx screwdriver. Right, if you get your set a decent set of Torx, Phillips and flathead screwdrivers, that will be okay. Will be just okay for the time being. A decent hammer is a good thing to have. This one is a little bit heavier than I need, but still does a good job. Another good thing is, don't throw these silica gels. Yeah, once you buy something and when you find these silica gels inside, just throw it in your toolbox, and it will prevent the tools from getting moistures, and basically it's gonna absorb the air from the toolbox. This thing here, a hose, I'm keeping it to remove spark plugs. Once you take out the spark plugs, yeah, you just stick, you know, the hose inside, and the spark plug is getting perfectly into this hole, so you can easily take it out, because there is nothing worse than trying to get a spark plug out and you can't reach it. With this hose you don't have these problems. A set of spanners. I bought myself a decent set of spanners, ratchet spanners with a built-in ratchet, but that's something, you know, which I just wanted to treat myself with a decent set of tools. If you just buy a normal spanner set like this one, I'm not using the big numbers here. I'm just 9 out of 10. I'm using these sets from number 6 to number that's supposed to be 20. Number 6 to 20 is more than enough, unless you're a HGV mechanic or keen DIYer, but I barely use the big ones. This set I bought myself for about a $5, about probably 10 years ago, and it's a very good set. I bought it for next to nothing, and I always keep it in my car. What else? What else you can find in this box? Set of pliers. This is a long nose pliers. These pliers are special pliers for removing things, you know, which on your hoses and stuff, you know. There's special kind of brackets where you just, it's so easy to take it off, you know, with these spanners. Doesn't need to invest in this tool, you know. That's just something which I have from my car mechanic years. Cutting pliers, regular pliers, a torch. Any torch will do. Doesn't need to be an expensive one. If you go and get yourself a torch from a pawn shop, it's still good enough. As long as you have some kind of light, that's fine. Obviously, if you want to treat yourself, you better, I strongly recommend, you know, get one of these head torches. Again, you don't need to splash a lot of money on head torches, but it gives you the opportunity to work with both hands. Magnetic tool, again, cost me a few quid on eBay, and very handy tool. Correction fluid, that's a quite useful thing to have in case you have to mark a thread, or if even you can use it as a thread holder. Does a brilliant job. Stanley knife, bought from the pawn shop. This is just things for tape, you know, for wires and whatever. Comes up quite handy. Duct tape is another good thing to have. Fortunately, I haven't got duct tape in this toolbox, but I have a duct tape in my car. These little things, yeah, they cost next to nothing, but they're very, very handy for removing trims and just the general maintenance of the car. I think, as far as I remember, the whole set cost me about 150 or something online. And as you can see, it's quite used, but it does the job quite well. This is a tire thread. Seal tape. A nice set of spanners. It doesn't need to be an expensive one, just a basic one. It is doing the job quite well. These one, you know, they serve me for numbers of years, and I always keep it in my car. This tool is for removing oil filter. 7 out of 10 I'm using this type rather than this one. Yeah, but I always keep both of them just in case. Sometimes you can't use this one, it's just not enough space. 3/8 ratchet. Multimeter. And I have this thing, you know, from the past, and I usually keep it in my car. But if you have a decent set of spanners like this one, you won't use the adjustable wrench too much, I guess. Funnel. Stanley knife again. The more the better. I have this multi-tool here. I always keep it in my car. It always comes up very, very handy. You can't go wrong with the multi-tools. Try to get a decent one, you know, not the cheapest on the market. Yep, that's quite useful. I use this tool when I'm changing brakes, brake pads. Sometimes, you know, when you take off the brake pads, you have to push the cylinder in order to get to put the new set of brake pads, and this tool is very handy. Sometimes you can push it up by hand, but if it's too rusty, you know, this tool comes up. The head torch, as I said. This is a 1/2" tool rail with Torx heads. Modern vehicles, they love Torx for some reason. Don't ask me why. Female Torx. Large numbers are with 1/2", and medium numbers there are 3/8. And the small numbers are 1/4". So it's good to have, you know, those 3 main types of ratchets. They comes up quite handy for other activities as well. Yeah, that's another tool rail. And this is my trusted socket set. This particular one is a 1/2", and it comes up with a ratchet, 1/2" ratchet. Spark plug sockets. Yeah, these are specially designed for spark plugs because they're deep sockets, and they have a rubber things inside to hold the spark plugs. Again, a braking bar, extension bar, and all the sockets from number 8 to number 32. When you see the socket head, yeah, you see this little star pattern. This pattern, it gives you the ability to adjust the how your socket is going to sit. And I prefer these ones. The star ones are better than, let's say, this type. So this is number 14 and this is number 14 again, and you can see the difference. I personally prefer this type, no matter that with these type of sockets you have a better grip, you know, better support. But that's just me, you know. If you go with a decent quality socket set, it doesn't really matter. That's my 1/2 inch set, and this is my 1/4 inch set. It's coming up with a ratchet again, and little extension bar, screwdriver with all these different bits and pieces. This set here is made for sumps. You know, everything, every part, every side of the socket heads equals to some number of sump plugs. Very useful. Right, so this is a review of the set. These tools here, they're just very inexpensive. You're looking about probably 200 or 300 pounds spent on tools, and I know that it might sound a little bit too much, but it's definitely worth investing, considering that most of the car mechanics nowadays, they're charging up from 30 pounds an hour and up, and if you go to a dealership, they're charging something like 150 to 100 pounds an hour, which I think it's ridiculous. So if you're investing 200-300 pounds in tools, it's a good long-term investment, and it's gonna pay out quite quickly. On these sides I have tools which they're not a must, they're not necessarily to have, but it's gonna make your life so much easier, like car jack. If you're using a car jack, if you want to jack up the car, you have to think about some support underneath. Usually I don't, when I'm taking out the wheel, I'm just putting the wheel rim under the car, so in case the jack failed to do its job, the car is not gonna land on me. You have to think about the safety before you go under the car. So if you're not quite sure, just check on the internet, Google up how to secure a car when it's up in the air. This is another thing which I'm using quite often. Screwdriver bits. Every single bit under the sun is there. You have a secure bits here, Torx, a little splines and everything. That's it's more like a treat rather than an essential tool. A ratchet spanner, and I bought these little sets here so I can change it between 1/2 inch, 3/8 and a 1/4 inch. A little clamps, bits and pieces. I have a little diagnostic tool here, which I'm gonna make a different review. It's not easy when you're doing everything with one hand. This is my diagnostic tool. It's again very inexpensive. pretty much like the multimeter. Not as cheap as the multimeter, but considering that the whole tool costs something from the region of 40-45 pounds, and most of the places are charging 35 pounds for diagnostic itself, for setting warning lights. I think it's worth investing in one of these. You don't need to buy all these tools on one go. I mean, this week you can buy this, other week you can buy that, because if you spend 200-300 pounds on tools, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt your bill. And another thing I want to say is don't go for the most expensive tools. Don't bother with Snap-on, with Mac tools, with any other expensive brands, because it's just not worth the money. Simple as. This set over there cost me something like 60 or 70 pounds as far as I remember, because I bought this one 10 years ago, and I've been using it when I was working as a car mechanic, and it's never missed a beat. I've used these sockets with a air impact gun, never had any troubles. I know I'm not supposed to, but I've used it, and never had any headache. I can't see the point of spending 300, 400, 500 pounds for the same Snap-on or Mac or God knows what a brand of tools, unless you're not doing it for a living. But even if you're doing it for a living, there's so many tools out there which are more cheaper and the same quality as Snap-on. Same with this socket set. I bought it from the major car accessory retailer, and it comes up with a lifetime guarantee. If something goes wrong, I can always send it back, and they give me a new one. So yeah, this is pretty much everything you need to do a basic car repairing, like changing oil filter, changing brake pads, front and back, doing general maintenance and repair of the car. These tools, they can easily store in probably in your I don't know, in your boot or in your cupboard or whatever. Doesn't take a lot of space, doesn't cost a lot of money, and they're doing perfect job. So thanks very much for watching up this video. I hope you like it, and please subscribe. Thank you.